So here is a 43-year-old female who presented to us with complaints of burning micturition on and off for the past 1 year. She also gave a history of frequency 8 to 10 during daytime and 4 to 5 during night, which is bothersome for the past 6 months, and urgency with urgely, and no complaints of post-stream or straining at body. She also gave a history of reduced weight for the past 3 months, but couldn't quantify the amount. And she, for her urinary tract complaints, she had used antibiotics multiple episodes with no significant relief. And the fluid intake was around 1.5 liter per day. Her bowels were daily and regular. She's married and 2 children, normal delivery. Her menstrual cycles were regular, and she's not a known diabetic or hypertensive.
Okay, so sir, can I summarize?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sir. So far I have got a 43-year-old female patient who had presented with burning micturition and storage lower urinary tract symptoms in the form of frequency, which included both daytime and nighttime, and urgency. She also has history of recurrent UTI, for which she had taken multiple times antibiotics in the past without much benefit. And she has a history of weight loss over a period of last 3 months. So that's the positive history which I have got, and now I would like to inquire about some negative histories to find fit my diagnosis. So I would like to know whether there was any hematuria, first of all. Secondly, any suprapubic pain or any flank pain, any history of anorexia, any history of if any abdominal lump is palpable to her, if there is any history of cough, hemoptysis. Yeah, that's it.
She, except for mild suprapubic discomfort, no history of hematuria or flank pain. No, she had given a history of weight loss and loss of appetite, but she couldn't quantify the weight loss. Why did you ask for abdominal lump?
Sir, abdominal lump, maybe it would be a palpable bladder, which would be in case of any neurogenic bladder, in which you wouldn't frequency, urgency, but wouldn't be able to empty her bladder. So that would be a palpable kind of a bladder. Might possibly. So yes.
Can you hear me, Dr. Park?
Yes, sir.
See, a lady who has presented with both daytime and nighttime frequency of urination.
Yes, sir.
Why are you thinking of neurogenic bladder and abdominal lump, retention of urine? Why are you thinking like that?
Sir, least likely down the line, but just to complete my complete negative history.
You know, there are so common diseases. You know what are you thinking? This lady, the history.
Yes, sir. Sir, here my differential diagnosis would include, first of all, sir, with the genitourinary tuberculosis. Secondly, it can be a simple chronic cystitis. It could be a bladder plain syndrome or interstitial cystitis. It can be a overactive bladder. It can be a bladder mass, or it can bladder malignancy, or it can be a VUJ calculi.
Dr. Parth.
Yes, sir.
I would request you to prioritize your things. You know, you suspected UTB. I didn't say anything.
Yes, sir.
Then to chronic cystitis. You know, chronic cystitis, tuberculosis is a form of chronic cystitis only.
Yes, sir.
You brought out interstitial cystitis, bladder pain syndrome, and all those things. What about bladder stone? Can it be just a bladder stone?
Yes, sir. VUJ or bladder stone, both can be possible.
So, in the clinical practice, we should go by common occurrences, the theory of common sense. Bladder stone is a more common problem than interstitial cystitis. Fine.
Yes, sir.
So far, everybody has thought in the line of infection. They are given courses of antibiotics. They didn't get a response, and that is helping you to zero into the possibility of a tuberculosis.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, apart from the symptoms, do you have any positive thing in the history which will suggest that this lady is suffering from tuberculosis?
Yes, sir. From the history of recurrent UTI, not amenable to antibiotics, and avoiding storage lower urinary tract symptoms.
Very good.
Two things are pointing towards genitourinary tuberculosis and history of weight loss. Sir, I would first of all like to examine the patient. In general examination, I would like to look for the vitals, then quantify the weight and know the BMI and
would you please define me the BMI?
They are defined by a formula which is weight in kilograms divided by height in centimeters square. Meter square.
It's
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay, go ahead. So 21 is a normal BMI?
21 is no, sir. Sir,
18.5 to 24.9 can be considered is normal, sir.
Yeah, I remember 18 to 25 is normal.
More than 25 is considered as overweight, sir, and more than 30 is considered as obese.
Yeah, and below 18 is
morbid obese. More than 35 is morbid obese.
Okay, go ahead. Indians are gaining weight now, huh? All gaining weight.
Yes.
Okay, so C is normal body weight, okay?
Yes, sir.
Particularly in ladies, C is no doubt about it. Tuberculosis is one of the cause of menstrual irregularity and infertility in India. So C has crossed that age actually. It's fine.
Examination is essentially normal.
When you examine in such a patient where you suspect tuberculosis, can you look for certain stigmata of the past tuberculosis in the body?
Sir, on examination, no, sir?
Yes, on examination.
Yes, sir.
In childhood,
There may be some healed scars or sinuses, tubercular.
Where should you find? Where should you try to find?
Sir, in perineum?
No,
It's,
the common just give me a minute, I'll take a phone call.
yes.
जी नमस्कार मैं ठीक हूँ
Nine change the slide when he asks, then we will change the slide. After he asks, we will change the slide. Go to previous slide.
Which one?
Previous slide only. We'll change.
Yes, please go ahead.
We ask.
Please go ahead. But
Yes, sir. Sir, yield starts.
I was telling you to look for stigmata of tuberculosis in the body. You know, in childhood, the tubercular lymphadenitis
Yes.
is pretty common. And commonly, the posterior cervical group is the site of infections.
Okay. Yes, sir.
You remember,
Yes, sir.
in the neck, the group posterior to the sternocleidomastoid is easily affected. So many times you can see scar.
Yes, sir.
They will forget it, they will not remember it, fine. So anyway, you can try to find out, but most of the time we may not get anything.
Yes, sir.
So you should also always ask for tuberculosis in the family.
His family history. Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Sir, I would like to investigate now. First of all, laboratory investigations in the form of complete blood count, renal function test, urine analysis with urine culture, and ESR. Sir, also, sir, basically this test, and for depending on the results, I would like to further ask my investigations.
Okay.
Okay, so I have got normal complete blood count, renal function test is normal. In urine analysis, there is plenty, there is this numerous WBCs and 3+ bacteria. Culture was sterile.
What does it mean?
Sterile pyuria.
Sterile on culture and 3+ bacteria. You are seeing only TB bacteria or what? By all means, this will be a contaminated sample.
Yes, sir. Or yes, sir.
Okay, proceed.
Next, sir, I would like to get urine for gene expert, sir.
Gene expert.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. And
Gene expert is the first diagnosis, first test for the tuberculosis.
First test, no, sir. It is a very rapid test and has got a very high sensitivity and specificity. But
I request Dr. Parth, you
Yes, sir.
all of you should read about Gene Expert. Gene Expert is a very valuable test, and these days WHO has recommended that Gene Expert should be used as a screening test. As you were saying, it's a very specific test, can be done easily, answer can be got very easily. You
Yes, sir.
start treatment at the earliest.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, Gene Expert should not be seen as a very sophisticated test. It is becoming a routine.
Yes, sir.
Okay? But before that, in the exam, you must ask that you send urine samples for AFB smear and culture, and you will also send for Gene Expert.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Results,
Yes.
will come. Results will come faster.
Yes, sir. Sir, for exam purposes, we have to tell urine AFP before Gene Expert, right, sir?
You should,
Or-
you should. Because,
Yes.
what I'm saying it, the WHO is giving a lot of money to, I think every district center has got, nowadays the National Tuberculosis Eradication Program has been named as, is upgraded as National Tuberculosis Eradication Program,
Yes.
NEP. Previously it used to be called Revised
RNTCP is now, yes,
RNCP. So the name has changed to National Tuberculosis Eradication Program, NTEP. So
Yes, sir.
a lot of effort is being done, and therefore the infrastructure is being upgraded. So therefore the Gene Expert test is going to be more and more easily available, and it is helpful, no doubt about it.
yes, sir.
Okay. So you should remember that, but you must always know about the AFB smear and culture and the way you want to send the samples and the way processing is done. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Result of urine AFB and Gene Expert.
What about our kidney functions?
Sir, normal
Creatinine was 1, sir.
1. Okay. 1.
Yes, sir.
And she is non-diabetic.
Non-diabetic, yes.
Okay. See, the urine will be positive for two out of 3 cultures.
Sorry, sir.
This report says urine for AFB positive 2 by 3 means 2 out of 3 is
2 out of 3 are positive.
2 out of 3
Yes.
samples. Yes, sir.
So, what do you think is about the positivity rate of AFB smear?
Sir, it has got a good specificity but a poor sensitivity.
When you say poor sensitivity, how much?
Around 70%, and
No. That's your telling too high. That's your telling too high. It is not that high. That is the problem. That is why it is not being relied upon these days, and they are emphasizing more and more on the GeneXpert. The positivity in general in our country is not more than 30 to 40%.
Okay, yes, sir.
This bacteria is said only intermittently. And that is the philosophy behind that you collect a full sample of overnight sample if the patient has got a good capacity bladder, or else you can even catheterize and collect the overnight samples, send the whole samples, so that this can be processed in a method of concentration
Yes, sir.
in an attempt to increase the positivity rate. So the overall detection rate sensitivity is 30 to 40%, but if it is positive, then as you said, specificity is pretty high.
Yes.
High. Okay. And the culture, if you want to wait for culture, the culture takes at least 3 weeks, maybe up to 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yes, sir.
Therefore, when you are doubting clinically, you don't want to wait that long, and therefore the importance of GeneXpert.
GeneXpert.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I would ask you, suppose you have sent a sample for urine for AFB culture, and within the first week you get a report AFB culture is positive. How do you interpret?
First week, sir, less likely to get positive in first week itself. It might be some contamination.
So there are
Yes.
non-pathogenic tubercle bacilli which grow faster. They may be contaminants.
Yes, sir.
So if you get a culture very early, you become suspicious and you ask the laboratory to identify the species.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you don't start eating. This is what
Yes,
I
sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now, GeneXpert result is available.
Has it? No, I think they don't have it.
Okay, sir. Sir,
So
now
we don't have the GeneXpert. We have done the ultrasound.
Do you still do Mantoux test?
sir, in pediatric population we do, but not in adult population.
Anyway, you should know it. The interpretation of negative Mantoux
Yes,
test
sir.
should also be known. Okay. Okay,
Normal,
go ahead.
yes, sir.
Chest
And
section needs to be normal.
USG of abdomen and pelvis. Ultrasound of abdomen and pelvis.
Go back to USG abdomen.
Okay.
So there is a left kidney with moderate hydroureter nephrosis, no calculus. Right kidney is normal, no hydronephrosis calculus. Bladder wall thickened, 4 mm, no lesion, no calculus. Post-void residue is 20 ml out of 180 ml. Okay.
If you want to assess the thickness of the bladder wall,
Yes, sir.
do you know the method of doing it?
Sir, it should be a partially full bladder, around 250 to 300 cc is the amount of urine which should be there to measure bladder wall thickness. And sir, we measure it ultrasonographically, the diffuser thickness basically in the partially filled state.
Which part of the bladder? The dome, the dome or the lateral wall or the anterior wall?
Lateral wall, sir. Lateral wall.
Yeah, it's lateral wall. And the fullness of the bladder filling stage should not be that much. You said too much high, 250, 300, everybody may not feel it. So something about 150 to 200, a moderately filled bladder, and you should measure the thickness in the lateral wall. This is interpreted mainly in cases of infravesical obstruction as
Yes, sir.
a finding to suggest a thick wall bladder suggested to stir hypertrophy, nothing else. Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So in this lady, the positive finding is that she has got a left-sided hydroureteronephrosis.
Moderate hydroureteronephrosis. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Next, sir, I would like to.
Does it point towards your tuberculosis?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There may be involvement of in the bladder. There may be involvement of trigon and left-sided ureteric orifice, or there may be left-sided ureteric stricture, tubercular strictures, which may be the cause of
hydroureteronephrosis. Point towards your diagnosis. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Proceed.
Now, I would like to get a CT IVP done, sir.
CT urography. Okay. CT urography or IVP, whatever is available. You know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. They have got an IVP possibly.
Yes.
Okay. X-ray normal.
Plain, sir, we can't appreciate anything in the plain X-ray. This is after 5 minutes of contrast. There is a peck of the right-sided kidney has get rapid uptake, which delineates the PCS, and even the contrast goes into the ureter, whereas there is no uptake of contrast on the left side in the 5 minutes.
Don't say no uptake. You can see opacification of the left kidney also, but it is delayed as compared to the right side. Okay.
Delayed nephrogram. Yes, sir.
Okay. See the next film.
Ureter I can't see in this film. Left sided.
Okay. How is the right side? Right side is normal? Can you describe the right side?
Yes, sir. Right side, the pelvic alveolar system seems normal. There is dye in the ureter. Upper ureter seems normal. And I can see going up to the lower ureter, which is also delineated, and going into the bladder. So I...
Try and see next film. Dekho.
Yes. 20 minutes next film.
Yeah. See this. See, I'm just trying to say, see the right side. If you go to this kidney is seen very nicely. The outline of the kidney is very regular. You can measure the length. You can see the cortical thickness.
Yes.
The thickness would be measured from the convexity to the concavity of the minor calyx.
Yes.
So the cupping, the calyceal cupping or convexity is well maintained in all the three groups of calyces, upper, middle and lower.
Yes, sir.
The calyx is normal capacity, UPJ is normal and the ureter is draining normally. So this is a normal pelvic calyceal system of the kidney.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now if you compare this on the left side, you see that the kidney is possibly a little large in size. We can see in this film collection of contrast in the upper and middle group of calyces.
No lower calyx visualized.
No lower calyx seen. No pelvis seen. No pelvis seen so far. Anyway, see the next film. See now you see the pelvis and the ureter also is dilated in the upper part. Lower part is not seen.
Yes, sir.
See the next film.
This is 90 minutes. Yes.
You can trace the ureter maybe up to the sacroiliac joint, roughly.
Upper SI joint. Yes, sir.
Upper SI joint. So therefore, it has formed some kind of a narrowing in the ureter.
Yes, sir.
Next film. Okay, it is a delayed film.
Delayed film.
2.5 hours, but the good part is bladder capacity is good.
Seems good. Yes, sir.
Capacity is good. From this, the thing is that most likely this patient has got a area of narrowing somewhere in the
left ureter, mid ureter or lower ureter. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you have to start treatment on this lady because you have got positive AFD smear in 2 out of 3 samples and the patient's clinical history is fitting. Radiologically also you are getting signs suggestive of tumor picture.
Yes, sir.
So you plan to start a treatment.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to do any more investigations or you want to start treatment?
Sir, I would like to do liver function test before starting AKT.
Very good. You want to record baseline liver function test. Why do you want to do that?
Sir, most of the first line anti-tubercular drugs are hepatotoxic. So I would like to quantify the liver function before starting AKT.
Okay, baseline. Fine. Very nice.
Yes, sir.
Nice. So anything else? I think they are trying to show an RGB picture.
Yes, sir. Sir, before that, sir, I would definitely start AKT after doing liver function test. But I would also like to get a DTPA scan for, sir, because there was a calicial irregularity. I don't know if it is draining properly or not. Sir, if not, then and if it is of adequate function, then I would after 15 days of starting AKT, I would do RGP and degesting.
Why do you want to wait for 15 days of starting ATT?
Sir, if we...
I'm this is the question. I would say, see, one clinician would like to say that no, I like to put a ureteric stent and then start ATT.
Yes, sir.
The other say no, I will start ATT without putting a stent. And the third candidate says, I like to start ATT and after 2 weeks I like to go and do an RGP and then stent it, as you said it. Which one is better?
Sir, I would prefer the third option. Sir, I have reason for it. Yes, sir. Sir, if we do degestenting before RGP and degestenting before starting AKT, there are chances of dissemination of the disease. Sir, by doing a stenting, even 2 weeks after, 2 weeks after starting AKT would reduce the bacterial load, bacillary load, and so the chances of dissemination are greatly reduced. So, sir, my preference of doing it 2 weeks post starting AKT. It would also reduce, as the bacillary load would be reduced, it would also reduce the mucosal edema which would be surrounding, and my chances of getting a successful retrograde DJ placement would increase.
Okay, I will agree more or less with you, but there is a school of thought. They will say that these present day ATT medications are very effective. So in 2 weeks time, this might form a stricture. Okay, so some people would like to do an RGP and put a stent first and then they will start ATT. This is also not wrong.
Okay, sir. Yes.
It's also not wrong. Okay, because you don't want to allow this kidney function to deteriorate.
Yes, sir.
Happens, suppose that happens, then you have to do a PCM.
Yes.
You have to do a PCM. So anyway, the emphasis is one, we are trying to preserve the kidney function.
Yes, sir.
Avoid an auxiliary stricture, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
So the RGP image.
Go ahead. So what are the composition of the AKT4? You are saying AKT4 started?
Sir, AKT4 includes in intensive phase we give 4 drugs, that is isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazinamide, and ethambutol. Sir, here also there are 2 schools of thoughts. Some say that there is no need of ethambutol, and ethambutol is needed only if there is resistance to any of the HRZ, that is isoniazid, rifampicin, or pyrazinamide. Otherwise, only HRZ for 2 months in intensive phase.
Okay, I would say one thing I'll stress upon all of you that you should know the doses of the anti-TB medications in terms of milligram per kg of body weight.
Yes, sir.
Kg of body weight.
Yes.
You know, these combined formulations many times the dose of one medication may be insufficient.
Yes, sir.
On one side, it is easy because the patient swallow only one tablet or one capsule. On the other hand, the dose many times become insufficient. So please remember the doses in milligram per kg of body weight and ensure a proper dose. But
yes, sir.
We are resorting to short course of anti-TB treatment, 6 months course. Right?
Yes, sir.
6 months course. Now I will ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
That is, what is the cure rate of treatment. Say this patient, by all means, you have done gene expert and it has not shown a resistance, and therefore you have given AKT4, 4 agents for 2 months and then 2 agents for next 4 months. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is the chance of success of eradication of tuberculosis from her body with this treatment?
Sir, it is around 95 to 97%.
Very good. I must say it. It is not 100%, but it approaches that.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, automatic derivation is you need to follow up these patients, maybe test their urine that they have really become negative or not. Because
Yes, sir.
of tuberculosis is another problem coming up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it is important. So dose and the toxicity of each agent, and if it happens, how to manage, you must know it.
Yes, sir.
What is the commonest toxicity of the anti-TB medications?
Sir, it is hepatotoxicity.
Hepatotoxicity. So you must know the parameters when you call transaminitis or when you need to stop those. You must know all those things. The other aspect of examination is that suppose a stricture formed in this lady,
Yes, sir.
you are not able to stent it.
Okay, sir.
You do.
Sir, we are talking about initial, right, sir? Not
So as
definitely.
you said in this patient that you will start ATT and in 2 weeks time you will go and do an RGP, and if there is a stricture you will pass a stent. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You do an RGP and there is an area of extreme narrowing and you fail to pass a guide wire and no need of stent, you won't stent it. What do you do?
Sir, I would do a PCN, sir. First of all, I would try for antegrade stenting, and if that also not possible, then I would place a PCN to ensure proper drainage of urine from that kidney during the course of AKT.
Yeah,
That is-
preservation of the kidney function.
Yes, sir.
Preservation of the kidney function. And then once you complete about 2-3 months of treatment, then you will assess by doing nephrostogram and would repair depending on the need.
Yes, sir. Depending on the site and length of the structure.
Depending on the need. Okay, depending on the need. So like this lady, say, think of the worst situation. She has formed a stricture somewhere on L5S1 level.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I remember by visual impression that at the upper body sacroiliac joint, the area of narrowing was there, and she has formed a obliterative stricture and lower part of the ureter is obliterated. So how do you manage it? It's a functioning kidney, 30% function. She got a PCN, she is completed ATT. How do you manage it?
Sir, if the size of the stricture is, length of the stricture is around less than 2 centimeter, then I would try a ureterostomy. If it is too lengthy for the ureterostomy, then bladder capacity was seemed to be good, and here also they have written it is 300 ml. So I can go for a psoas hitch or a Boari flap along with the ureteroneocystostome, left-sided.
Okay, Ranpart, I'll just say one thing, just summarize it, think over and read about it. In the pelvic ureter, end-to-end uterostomy is a good operation
Yes.
related to the blood supply of the lower ureter. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Therefore, you would say, sir, I will try to reimplant that ureter. If
Yes, sir.
you directly, I may get supported by a psoas hitch or a Boari flap.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Failing which, if this is not feasible, failing which, you might need to resort to
Ideal ureter.
ideal set.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Should we take the next case?